So in this segment, I want to discuss the story of Jas Athwal. I want to do like a proper video on it. The Labour slumlord that has ants in his rental properties, as well as black mould. So here he says, "I am shocked and sickened by the series of problems that have come to light. I had not been aware of these issues until this week, for which I'm furious. I've immediately dismissed the managing agent of my property." So there you have a guy who's passing the buck and blaming someone else. And then in his second tweet says, "As the landlord, the buck stops with me, and I unreservedly apologise. I'll be reimbursing every tenant, so we'll wait and see what kind of compensation he gives out." But what you have here is a guy who is either a bad landlord who knew about this stuff and didn't care, or an absentee landlord who didn't care enough about his properties and basically let someone else manage it for him without having any care as to how they were, in what state they were in. And you have, as kind of No Justice points out here, bro is so rich he pays someone else to be a landlord for him, which is true. I think being a landlord is the antithesis. It goes against the Labour Party because you are extracting wealth from workers. So tenants of a Labour MP who lets 15 properties have claimed they were told, "If you don't like it, leave," after complaining about ants and damp in their hotel. So this was apparently from the estate agent, or at least the person managing the property. So Jas Athwal is the biggest landlord in the House of Commons and describes himself as a renters champion. And this is what makes it very strange, because he was a guy who, whilst he was in charge of the council, tried to add extra licenses and stuff, so people would have to increase their standards. If I was going to be really really cynical, I would say he did this stuff in order to kind of increase the cost of other landlords because he didn't bother getting these licenses himself. But I don't think it's that kind of deep, I guess. But it's a really horrible situation that people find themselves in. They're saying summertime is horrible. There are ants everywhere. They said so. It sounds like this has been a long running issue for a couple of years now. Jas Athwal said he's never had to evict anyone. Is like, yeah, my dude, if your asset management company had to evict people, they're going to struggle to get more people in because there's ants in the house. There's ants in the flat. There's none of the residents wish to be named, as they feared they would be evicted. Someone saying, "I wasn't aware that people bully here. This is like a third world country." One tenant said they were told by the property manager, who they could only identify as Raymond, that if they were found to be on benefits, they would be evicted. They were not aware their landlord was a Labour MP, and so that means they wouldn't have been aware their landlord was, head of the council. A source close to Athwal said that he had decided not to take tenants of benefits because he believed it would create a conflict of interest, which apparently this is illegal. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to reject people on benefits. A man knocked on the door and told occupants not to speak to journalists, adding there were some guys with the suit. "Did you see where they go? Please don't let them in because they come to put in the newspaper. Close the door." It's really weird, the statement here. The man refused to say who he was or what he was doing at the property. Apparently, he was a guy carrying out remedial works. Now, why a guy carrying out remedial works would be worried about journalists is beyond me. Athwal claiming he thought he was paying a good agent to do a good job, and they have not. He has never evicted anybody, which again, goes on point of, if you evict people, you're gonna have to find someone else, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think they did it. Redbridge Council said Mr. Athwal registered all of his properties as part of the selective licensing scheme that was in place between December 2019 to April this year. Following the introduction of a new licensing scheme on Monday, April 8th, we are working closely with all landlords affiliated with the scheme to ensure they are fully registered. So this could be part of the thing where, with the licenses that, because of they're redoing them, he doesn't have the right licenses or whatever. But you would think, as the guy who cares so much about being a renters champion and was one of the guys who was instrumental in the change, he would have the proper licenses because he would know about them. You had the Conservative group leader of Redbridge Council saying his failure to register his properties under a scheme he brought in is a simply scandalous hypocrisy. And you know what? I actually agree. I actually agree with this dude here. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Athwal said, "I'm of course more than happy for tenants to provide updates to journalists." I mean, you can say that, but you've hired someone in the asset management company, or someone in your under your employment was not happy for people to speak to journalists. So wait and see that. You know, this was a statement from a Labour MP saying that even if you employ someone to do the work, you have a duty of care as a landlord. It feels like exploitation. It will look like hypocrisy on a grand scale if action isn't taken. The party has got to decide if it's the party of social justice or not. They need to take action. They need to get on with it. Labour's 2024 general election pledge included a pledge to prevent private renters being exploited and discriminated against. MPs must declare on the registry of interest, etc. But yeah, I think I think Starmer should have taken action and withdrew the whip from him. This about the housing benefits. What if a landlord doesn't accept housing benefits? Letting agents cannot say it's the landlord's choice to refuse tenants on benefits. It's against the equality law for them to take instructions to discriminate from a landlord. And so here we have, Athwell apparently saying that he doesn't take people on housing benefit because there's a conflict of interest. It's bizarre. And if you look at the state of the property here, you got ants, fire alarms not on properly. I mean, this is a proper hazard here. So yeah, this is just a complete nightmare, to be honest with you. And he's sorry. Sorry. I don't know if he's sorry he got caught or if he's sorry, genuinely actually sorry that this has happened. It's hard to know when it comes to intent and things like that. This is the guy we could have had deselected. Labour MP Sam Tarry submits a vote rigging complaint. So this was the MP for South Ilford during the last Parliament, and so he's a former trade union trade union official who helped organise Jeremy Corbyn's leadership campaign. He was deselected more than a year ago. Now he alleges that there was vote rigging that happened during kind of the selection process. So it'll be interesting to see if his thing actually goes anywhere. Because he submitted a complaint. I don't know how far that's going to go. There were lots of stories around kind of vote rigging and things like that during the selection process for Labour MPs, and we did see a lot more kind of lawyers, but also a lot of lobbyists come in amongst other groups that you really wouldn't want to affiliate with the Labour Party, to be honest. This is Sam Tarry saying Labour must stand in solidarity with workers engaged in struggle. The clue is in the name. No more multi-millionaire MPs or second jobs or multi-story property landlords. It's workers versus bosses. Pick a side, which is true. Interesting blast from the past there. So, this is the guy they could have had versus the guy they got. But, when it comes to the selection process, this is what Starmer said.
3 left-wing candidates now say they have been blocked from standing, and some people are suggesting that is a strategy. Are you blocking left-wing candidates from standing in this election?
No. I've said repeatedly over the last 2 years as we've selected our candidates that I want the highest quality candidates. That's been the position for a very long time.
So is this man the highest quality candidate? Is he the best you had in South Ilford? Starmer slammed Labour MP Jas Athwell for the conditions of his rental flat, saying, no, it's not good enough. It's unacceptable for any landlord, and I'll be really clear about that. It doesn't matter whether it's a Labour MP or anybody else. It's unacceptable. Is that it? This is the party of not camping bankers' bonuses, but will do for benefit claimants. This is the party that got rid of people for siding with the SNP during the King's Speech over trying to get rid of the 2-child cap, but this guy here, a slumlord, you're not gonna discipline him, no? Just completely bizarre, to be honest with you. Under Starmer, Labour MPs have lost their whip for voting to scrap the 2-child benefit cap, as we pointed out. He should be disciplined 100%. And Lewis Goodall, who he's doing some good work here, questions a Labour MP over this.
He was literally on the council and introduced a set of standards that all buy-to-let landlords in his council had to obey, and he himself did not obey it. Now, do you not think that is the height of hypocrisy? And the Labour Party, if this were the Conservative Party, you'd be slamming this guy. You'd be absolutely slamming him. And that, yeah, you are saying, oh, no, it's not a huge deal. He's going to just compensate them, but we're just going on as normal. Don't you think it would send a message to buy-to-let landlords who are ripping people off that you, the Labour Party, do not tolerate standards like this, not least from your own MP?
Well, I'm certainly not saying it's okay, and I've just made absolutely clear we don't tolerate standards
then
like
punish
that.
him then.
That's
punish
why.
him.
No, hang on a minute. That's why we are legislating with tough measures to tackle these issues, to give tenants those rights, so they don't have to go to the BBC or to anybody else.
The thing is, this is stuff where people. I think the system is you can go to your council, and your council can put in notices that remedial works have to happen, or the landlord can suffer fines and whatever. The system is so broken that you had a guy, the actual landlord was the head of the council, running his properties via some sort of management company, and nothing was done about it potentially for years. This system is so flawed, and I think this is the perfect opportunity for Labour to have said how they're going to improve the system. Fundamentally, I think this would have been a perfect moment to say, like, yeah, one of our MPs, he has been caught doing this, whether he knew or not. This is a situation where you can't hide behind ignorance in this situation. When you own properties and they're uninhabitable, you can't hide and blame the management company over it.
Whether it's a Labour MP or any other landlord, they will have real rights embedded in law, and there'll be legislation and new enforcement and new licensing schemes to back that up. It is not okay, absolutely not okay. What I am saying is that this particular person in question has taken quick action. He was furious about that. I will take him at his word.
When it comes to politicians, you never really take them at their word. Unless you can see construction work literally happening now. And obviously, some of these people won't be able to live in these houses for a bit because they're going to need fumigators. Is he going to compensate that as well? You've got black mould and ants. You're talking massive amounts of construction needed in order to deal with this. Now, is he going to compensate them if they have to move out temporarily?
On that for now, but he has to put that right. And in terms of I think the licensing scheme, there's some transition to a new scheme or something, is my understanding of it. But look, let's be clear. As a Labour government, as a Labour Party, we stand firmly behind the rights of tenants in the private rented sector to live in a safe, in a high quality.
You can't make this argument. You can't make this argument of we back these things and have an MP who is doing this. You cannot do so. Not without him facing some sort of consequence. Because there's no way we live in a world where he can say, oh, sorry guys, I didn't know about this, just carry out remedial works, face no fines, punishment, or be banned from being a landlord. No way we should live in a country like this. And like I said, this is a perfect springboard for Labour to announce these changes. This from O'Brien, he's not even impressed. He's one of Starmer's biggest defenders.
It doesn't appear to be attracting anything
Now, in fairness, Starmer did say something. It was just a complete bogus statement.
like the negative attention that has been directed at Keir Starmer for moving a painting or Angela Rayner for daring to dance in public. Now, I know that they are the leader, respectively, and deputy leader of the Labour Party, and therefore, by definition, better or bigger stories. But it doesn't matter, really, if a Labour MP is on the hook for, to my eye, atrocious conduct. You can use him as a weapon with which to hit the leader and the deputy leader of the Labour Party. When he was the leader of Redbridge Council, he introduced legislation that required landlords to have...
This stuff already got over.
He wasn't obeying them. So he didn't have the correct property licences that were required under a scheme he introduced as Redbridge Council.
So this is the bit that people seem conflicted over about, does he not have the proper licences, or does he have time to get the new ones?
Leader. And he claimed originally that he had. So, again, how much of an excuse can it be to say, as he has done, it was all my agent's fault? I think...
But that's the problem, isn't it? If you can get away and say, oh, it's my agent's fault, then we're going to keep running into this problem, because landlords will keep blaming their agents over this stuff when it's both their responsibilities, really, to resolve issues.
It absolutely stinks. And I think if I was Keir Starmer, I would have said something about it by now. I don't know, is it a whip removal issue, or does that sound like an overreaction?
It's not really an overreaction, is it? I think it's a whip removal issue, I'll be honest. For Arthur, what I'd say about him is...
I don't want to hear another word! You're a disgrace to the game!
But yeah, honestly, the guy, it's just a complete joke, this situation. And, he should have the whip removed, in my opinion, until he resolves these issues. Because it looks very two-tier if he's going to face no parliamentary punishment for this, considering his job, or as he claims to, be a champion for renters' rights. He does not seem to care about them at all. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel or Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.